That day, my brother and I spent our last moments with Vincent, snuggling on the chair. He was sleeping peacefully in my brother's lap, not responding to his surroundings. But suddenly his eyes opened wide. He looked right up at me and began to meow, bright and clear. He even stood up and attempted to crawl up on my brother's shoulder. That was Vincent's final goodbye. And that was the way the poor cat left his owners, something they will never forget as long as they live. And that's the story Jang Animals Mom would like to share with you today. Vincent was only around 6 months old when we got him. He was a very skinny kitten and a little malnourished, but he had just come from the home of a hoarder. It was the first cat we ever had. We did not know how small and unhealthy he really was at the time. He was the best little cat I ever met. He was so friendly and always came running to greet us when we arrived at home. His favorite snuggle spot was up on your shoulder. He would dig his little claws in, hoist himself up and curl around my neck, purring as loudly as he could. Had he been female, we would have called him Polly. But he was also very sick. Even before we got him, he was ill. See, Vincent had what is called FIP, a terminal illness to which kittens and elderly cats are susceptible, usually following harsh conditions. Vincent came from a hoarder's house with over 100 cats, many of which had FIV or feline leukemia. Over the span of a month, his health declined rapidly. He was no longer the energetic little kitten we once had. He slept all the time, and he could barely make it to his litter box when he was awake. Eventually, he lost his coordination and seemed really dizzy. Vincent wasn't really himself anymore, but he still loved to snuggle. Originally, we had taken him to the vet to see what they could do, but after one day they sent him home to spend his remaining days with his family. That night, he suffered multiple seizures, lost sight in both eyes, and could no longer stand or remain upright. He had to be swaddled and held the entire night. We decided to put him down the following morning. The following day, my brother and I spent our last moments with Vincent, snuggling on the chair. He was sleeping peacefully in my brother's lap, not responding to his surroundings. But suddenly his eyes opened wide. He looked right up at me and began to meow bright and clear. He even stood up and attempted to crawl up on my brother's shoulder. That was Vincent's final goodbye. He knew he was leaving us. Vincent was a great cat. I miss him so much. The loss of any loved one, regardless of whether they are human or animal, is a painful experience. Death and the emotions following are never easy to deal with. If the animal that passed away was a constant in your daily life, it can be so hard to get through your day without them. Thankfully, there are some things you can do to guide you through the process of grieving. Grieving a cat is no different to grieving the loss of a family member. You will go through the same stages of grief. It may take some time, but acceptance is a must for anyone who has lost a loved one. If your cat has died, you will inevitably need to adjust your life without them. How we adapt will vary from person to person, but ultimately, acceptance is the key. Please share your stories of pets by leaving your comments below. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and share. Bye and see you in the next video.